and groups that I speak to continue to look for other sources of dollars, grant dollars, foundation dollars that are out there. I think we have to think creatively about funding all of our priorities. In fact, I think our county in particular has not done as well in coming together, putting together strategic collaborations and going after other money. There's, there are many funders out there, and we should really make maximum use of that and strategic use of that right now.
Two things is, I believe one of the reasons why Charlotte Hall has filled up, especially in the last 2 years, is the economy. It's some of the nursing homes are $7,000, $8,000, $9,000 a month.
Yeah.
Where down at Charlotte Hall, the state and the federal, they helped fund. And now that non-veteran spouses are allowed down there. So a man could take his wife with him, which is really good. And if he passes, she can still stay there. And good. Now, moving on to another item. Maryland has 5 veteran cemeteries. We're one of the only states in the country that have 5 veteran cemeteries. And they're very well kept. Of course, the federals help us, and the state does. So this would really be good to go ahead and take care of the people before they have to get to the cemetery.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So.
Absolutely. But and again, I want to put a fine point on looking at alternative dollars too. Let's make maximum use of that. Let's be strategic about it. I don't know if in all of your halls you have folks who are looking at grant dollars. I mean, that is a critical source for dollars right now. And I would love to see more of that money coming to our county, coming to our state. The district is more aggressive on this. Some of the surrounding counties and areas are more aggressive, and we need to be aggressive on going after and applying for other dollars, stimulus dollars, foundation dollars, and others.
One thing is BREC. Now, I don't know how much BREC is going to impact our county, but we have Fort Meade right neighbors, and Prince George's is right there as far as housing goes. This is something we need to make where the retired military, that's going to be an ideal situation for them because as I say, our friend Comrade Creighton would say, the security and clearance are already there. They don't have to spend any money for it. The discipline is already there. The training is already there. And BRAC is going to really be big. Aberdeen and Fort Meade, I think, are the 2 biggest areas. Right.
Yeah. But also Andrews will have
Andrews
some activity
and
as well.
They are in our county.
And they are in our county, and there's an Andrews Alliance.
Right.
There's been a great deal of, I was on an economic development tour of Camp Springs. There's a great deal of development, transit-oriented development going on around the Branch Avenue Metro Station, which is right there at Andrews. So there's a great opportunity to transform that area. And I think veterans will be a critical part of that. I mean, many of the veterans who leave service end up being contractors in our community, contracting with the federal government and other agencies. So I think it'll present a great opportunity, BRAC, and the area around Andrews for veterans to be engaged and also transform that area there.
Now, one thing, and Judge Dublin might be able to, we were talking about, they wanted to start a veterans court or on that sort where some of the veterans where a gun will go off and he'll overreact and purpose thinking they're going to rob something or do something, where he's just like PTSD and stuff like that. And as I say, this is something we may want to look at on a statewide level. And maybe get something started in Prince George's County.
Delegate Levi, of course, is on the committee that has jurisdiction, which is the House Judiciary Committee.
Right.
But other states have done this. They've established a veterans court. But very often as a judge, and particularly in the lower courts, you just don't know those kinds of things that you just mentioned. You know.
Right.
So you're talking about a court, a specialty court, really. Right. I mean, we have some specialty court. We have drug courts. We have truancy courts, and I assume you're talking about a veterans court
with Judge Lewis.
A mental health with a mental health angle kind of focused on veterans.
And it's sort of like have an intermediary where this man shouldn't have been arrested.
But you're dealing with a problem, you know. For example, there were 57,000 roughly men and women killed in Vietnam. There are now more than 57,000 suicides of Vietnam veterans.
Oh no, I mean, I grew very concerned about, 2 months ago there was a great article in the New York Times, an investigative piece on a number of returning veterans and just the high rate of suicide, and I was alarmed by it, really. But as I said, we outlaid last year in the state, in the General Assembly, $2.3 million to help train medical professionals and others who interface with the veterans community on recognizing various mental health, behavioral challenges for veterans and their families. So again, I really encourage veterans to visit that website that is really dedicated to cataloging all the services that are available for veterans in the state. So,
and that's one of the purposes that we have here, is basically getting the word out to veterans and their families that support's available, but you have to let somebody know. You can't just stay at home and expect somebody to knock on your door. You have to be active, and we're trying to get the word out as best we can.
And it's important, you know, and some of the thrust of this initiative, it's important that medical health professionals and others in the court system and others are trained to, as you've mentioned, identify some of these things. So not only, I mean, do they have to come out of the house, but people who are interfacing with them, and definitely in the health community, are trained to recognize early signs of various issues. So.
And Jerry, you know, as part of the Veterans Commission, you know, we're trying to get the word out and let veterans know within Prince George's County of what we're doing too. And all that is part and parcel with what's happening in Annapolis. And we have to work together.
And
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, and I want to mention that website again, veterans.maryland.gov, which just has, you know, I went on the website. It has a lot of resources there available.
We'll have them put that on the program.
Okay, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then, you know, the other issue that seems to be, because we've been more active every year out there in Annapolis, is basically we'll go to the committees and give our presentation. And there seems to be a lot of support, except nothing ever appears to get out of committee to get to the floor for a vote. And you know, that's kind of the area that we're kind of looking for to try and get support out of the committee to get to the floor, so we can get, you know, the General Assembly to vote on our stuff.
Well, absolutely. Let me just give you a little inside secret.
Well, that's what we need to do.
A little inside information. I mean, literally, since I've been in Annapolis, we've been under budget constraints. So generally, if a bill has a fiscal note in the range of about $250,000, it generally is not coming out of the committee.
Oh.
Okay. I mean, just generally right now, we're under those kind of fiscal constraints. Now, clearly, if you're, you know, I encourage you to be in constant contact with the leaders, Speaker Bush in the House, President Miller in the Senate, the governor. You know, continue to alert them to your key priorities. But bills that cost money are facing very difficult times in committees, and
now,
frequently.
The slot machine bill is zero.
Right. You got a better shot.
The only thing is, what we have to do, there's a zero fiscal note. It's not going to cost the state a penny. And this will help the state because it's going to put money back in the community. Now, people have they got to take their personal feelings out of this. If a guy doesn't want to gamble, don't gamble. But don't tell me I can't. That's where the big deal is. There's some of the people in Annapolis they're from the Bible Belt and stuff like that. And